Hello, grade 7 boys and girls. Welcome back to the virtual learning program of Rainbow International School. Uh, in this audiovisual presentation, we shall be discussing Chapter 5 from David Copperfield, authored by Charles Dickens. Chapter 5 is about David meeting his old friends again. The setting is in Golden Cross Hotel, London, in Yarmouth, his flat atop a house near the Lockharts, a theatre, and Agnes' place while in London. Okay. You'll see a photo of the Golden Cross Hotel where David stayed and where he met once again one of his old friends, and that is for us to see. The new character we shall be meeting in this chapter is Mr. Spenlow. Mr. Spenlow is a partner in an important law firm who would train David to be a lawyer. Okay, after having read the chapter, we have the summary. And let's try to recall the story in chapter 5 while we read this summary. David decided to stay in London first. He stayed in the hotel where James Steerforth was staying, the Golden Cross Hotel. Bored in the city, James told David that he wanted to go with him to Yarmouth to visit Peggotty. Mr. Barkis was ill at the time of his visit. James stayed at the hotel while David stayed in Mr. Barkis' house, where a room has always been spared for him. The following day, David and James went to visit Daniel, Peggotty, Emily, and Ham. They were celebrating the engagement of Ham and Emily, so David and James stayed to celebrate with them. The two young gentlemen stayed for another 2 weeks in Yarmouth with David in Mr. and Mrs. Barkis' house, and James with Daniel and Ham either sailing or fishing. When they went back to London, he found his Aunt Betsy booked in the same hotel. She went there to suggest that David consider being a lawyer, to which he agreed. Aunt Betsy arranged a meeting with Mr. Spenlow, and David was registered, and a flat was rented at the top of a house near the Lockharts for him to stay. He was visited by James and sat for dinner with him with two friends. That same night, Agnes Wickfield saw him in a drunken state in the theatre where he, David, and James, together with his two friends, went to after dinner. He was so ashamed when he went to where Agnes was staying the day after. Agnes warned David of his friendship with James and told him as well that Uriah Heep insisted on becoming her father's partner. David left with a promise that he'd visit Agnes and her father in Canterbury very soon. So let's see what are our comprehension questions to be answered. We have how David managed to upset Agnes at the theater, and what did Agnes tell David when he went to apologize for his bad behavior? So we shall be answering these questions in our copybook, and I want to see the screenshots of your answers in our Discord group. Okay? Now, while reading chapters 4 and 5, let's answer the guide questions. The questions rather on page 94. We have the guide answers after each question. Okay, each item. So who said this and to whom? Who or what were they talking about? Let's see. Let's take number 1. Now the question is, what shall I do with him? Aunt Betsy Trotwood was talking to Mr. Dick about young David. Okay, let's see. The second one is, this boy is extremely wicked and violent. Who's talking? Mr. Murdstone, and is talking to Aunt Betsy Trotwood, and they're talking about David. The third one is, I don't believe a word of your story. Aunt Betsy to Mr. Murdstone, and they're talking about Mr. Murdstone report on David's character. Let's go to number 4. I could never rise so high. No, I'm much too humble for that. Uriah Heep was talking to David, and he's talking about becoming Mr. Wakefield's partner. The fifth one, nothing exciting ever happens there. James Steerforth was talking to David, and they're talking about his studying at Oxford University. I know she'll come to no harm while he lives. That's Daniel Peggotty talking to David about Emily's engagement to Ham. Seventh, I confess I hadn't considered it before, but I think I'd like that. It was David talking to his aunt about becoming a lawyer. And the last one, I'm certain I'm right. You have made a dangerous friend. It was Agnes talking to David about Steerforth. Okay. Now for enhancement and enrichment, you may go to this link and have fun flipping the flashcards. And after you have yourself familiar with the each flashcard, you may take the test on the same web page. Send your feedback to me via DM, either in Discord, and for WhatsApp you have this number. Okay. You have to take note that some questions do not pertain to the covered chapters. Just leave them, skip them, and we shall be learning about them in our succeeding audiovisual presentations. Thanks. Once again, I thank you for your time, and be safe, be healthy, and happy virtual learning. Thank you.